Studio Focus.
Yeah,
where's Nani? Where's Steezy? Where's
Steezy? Follow what you have planned.
Yeah.
From there.
Like, see, we need an establishing shot. I guess I don't know, man.
All of us.
Like, upon I'm following.
Now, Nico Cam, bro. Like, whatever you want to add to it, we can add to it, bro.
Yeah, man. What's the time, man?
What did you like doing?
What's up, Papa? Basi. So, they refer to me as the boy, Young Haze. Wanasema ni kijana manze. Young, I shed the haze, they still put it on me. Cause I'm eternal like that, I'm timeless. You know what I'm saying? Word to my son, I'll be flexing at 40. Ah, shit, yeah. Okay. Let's go. All right. Yeah. Now we the reason they running fresh out of new rappers. Cause there's a shortage of lies when the truth happens. This flow full of surprises, that new jack. And when that bass jump at you, catch a heart attack. I make a nigga ask about him, how he thought of that. I be thinking twice as fast as all these other cats. I be running circles round them, 2 laps ahead, no need to ask about him. I'm about my bread and now the flow is sounding like heaven sent. I make these cats pay homage, pay every cent. And now the whole clique legal, we just too legit. We too fly to quit, we too fly to cheat. The raps out of Miami cause we are the heat. Yo. BLC, Tribesmen, my connects, you dig? Yo, shout out one time to everybody that made this shit happen. Yeah, shout out to everybody that made this happen, man. Like real talk. We don't take as much. We don't allow the people that go extra hard behind the scenes to make these types of things happen get the credit, man. I'm just saying, man, there's a lot of people that actually made this thing happen, man. Shout out to Young Haze, man. And that's as a company, as a movement, as a group, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Riot Gear, man. You know what I'm saying? He got me leveled up, man. This is something that I never forget, man. Shout out to him. Push start the key, man. That dash look like an iPhone. Plat on the beat, man. That shit look like the Dow Jones. Plat on the street, man. My shit look like the. One more time. Let's go. Shit, I forget that shit. How did I forget? Yeah. I gotta do that. Because I'm sure. Push start the key, man. That dash look like an iPhone. Plat on the street, man. My shit. Could you play it, please? Yeah. Man, put it all together, man. It's called big love.
Yeah, thank you.
And all the time, the realest things get said. Sometimes the words don't always come, like as in the types of fans they flow out of, man. But I want to shout out Big Tribesmen Manjaro, man, for making the sound happen, making the connection happen, man. And one time for my nigga Monster, man, the Riot Gear, my nigga 3D, man, made our vision and our sound possible. You know what I'm saying? It's much love to Elsa. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
responsible for making you pretty today.
Yeah, already, man. I'm
looking good and shit. Shining and glistening.
Yeah, I'm quaked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway, much love, man. Stay tuned. Yo, man, disrupt the pill.
No problem. Man, I'm here, bro. I'm
a bunch of shit. I wanna.
Just like recording takes. Just like recording, right?
Yeah.
Multiple takes.
It's beautiful being in front of the camera, man.
Yeah. Man, I'm not looking as good as you, nigga, though. I'm kind of feeling some type of way.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Cool.
Yes, man, of course, Disrupt the Pill. It's your boy, Young Haze.
Yo, man, blooper.
Hey, blue best person.
Why are you passing it to me? Such a strange way.
Okay, so
yeah, man. Yo, Young Haze.
It's your boy, Young Haze, Steezy Manjaro.
Alright, cool. And then after that, do you have something else planned?
Like, actually, it's a
I don't think if it's a problem.
Okay.
It's good.
I just didn't know where to take it.
But
You understand what I'm saying?
it was more said, right? Like,
Alright.
are you part of the interview? Do you want to do the interview? Because I was hoping you could pose a question, man.
For you.
Like for us, man.
Yeah. Can I think of something?
Yeah.
That I need to think of, cause you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we need.
Moseta, you gonna drunkalia like the most cast.
I said bitch, man. It's not normal. I said bitch. Alright, so it's gonna call like as a yeah, man.
Yo, let the light shine through a little bit.
For real, eh?
No, but you, Joe. No, it's all about you, Joe. You, Joe. How does a shot look?
It's good, bro. It's dope.
The light. What about the light?
The light is, bro. Even if I'm messing with it right now, it's dope as hell. All this is dope as
So
hell.
that it's hard, so that like as in whoever comes next is gonna be like.
Have the most fun. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Kuja sasa kuja na hasira. Yeah.
And the lady. Like,
Okay, you, Joe. Don't be putting this part. Any part previous to this. Just cut it. All right, let's go. I'm fresh now. All right, Haze. You said you had the script.
Yo,
man?
it's your boy Haze. Steezy Manjaro.
Yo,
I love it. It's a song. It's like a song.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like
Yo,
it's your boy
Steezy
Haze,
Manjaro.
Steezy Manjaro. Alafu.
I don't know if I could
Riot
do that.
Manjaro
3D,
or Riot Gear.
So it's like a song. So
Manjaro.
it's your boy Haze. Steezy Manjaro. Riot Gear 3D.
Got it. Cool.
I feel like I'll be forcing it. I'll be forcing it if I try to like
Yeah,
do that
force
type
it.
of.
Force it.
It's okay. Let me put it like this. Like
Force it.
even inside my tutorials, it's not my brand. It's not the brand like I've
Unajita, right?
like okay like in terms of the personality that I present.
Yeah.
Even in my tutorials, it's not that like hey man. It's like you know just.
Yeah, what's good, man? I go by the name of Young Haze.
Yo, I'm Steezy Manjaro.
And I'm Gear.
And we're presenting Disrupt the Pill, Gives You Pushed Out the Key by Haze. Flash it.
It's P16 on the beat.
Pushed out the key, man, that dash look like an iPhone. Plat in the streets, man, my shit look like the Dow Jones. Flex on the beat, I'm a real one with the sound on. I'ma get it on my feet, I ain't got none but two to stand on. I'm in this bitch with P, he coming with the slappers. I'm winning on repeat, I'm clicking like a scammer. Like guess I keep a G, sophisticated trapper. I'm really tryna move the whole thing, fuck a sample. Like get it on the spot with Jay-Z, go on the lamb, in the lamb truck. Get it for the team and fuck the town and my stamps up. The whole thing on me, I leaving cash from the rafters. Get it how you living, I'ma get it off these matches. Electric, this ain't no Tesla. I'm on some blast shit, she thinking I'm a blaster. We got it young, we made this rapper shit attractive. I talk finesse and I leave out this bitch finesse. Start the key, man, that dash look like an iPhone. Plat in the streets, man, my shit look like the Dow Jones. Flex on the beat, I'm a real one with the sound on. I'ma get it on my feet, I ain't got none but two to stand on. I'm in this bitch with P.
Ska, sema adorable, man, they disrupt the pill. Oh, fuck everybody, man. Shout out to the guys with the vision. One time for my nigga YM. Young Money, not YM, man. They disrupt the pill, DA. All day, man. They not district attorney. What's going on? Let's go. We the reason they running fresh out of new rappers. There's a shortage of lies when the truth happens. Cause I've been full of surprises at New Jack. And when that bass jump at you, catch a heart attack. I make them wanna ask somebody how we thought of that. I be thinking twice as fast as all these other cats. I be running circles round them, 2 laps ahead, no need to ask about them. I'm about my bread and now the flow is sounding like heaven sent. I make these cats pay homage, pay every cent. And not the whole clique legal, we just too legit. We too fly to quit, we too fly to cheat. My raps out of Miami cause we are the heat. BLC, that's my Southside Connect, you dig? Shout out to D, A, Disrupt the Pill. Hey man, I don't even gotta mention the rest of these niggas, man. One time, when it's going to family, TM Tribesmen, all day. Disrupt the pill. That's good. Yeah. It's good. I love you, bro. It's good. So the song was inspired by. It's kind of, you know how it's family driven. So what happens is, like, as in a lot of families, we get into this business of, like, we get into one car together, like a unit, and like rap groups are kind of like that. I come from.
Yeah, my tutorials, it's not my brand. It's not the brand like I've...
Right?
Like, okay, like in terms of the personality that I present, even in my tutorials, it's not that like, hey man, it's like, you know, just...
And I kind of feel like Push Start the Key is kind of like, it's a third world anthem, because sometimes, man, like, as in you got little Push Start the Key, Manjaro, and I got the same Push Start you got as a Lambo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not kidding, man. Like, as in you got.
And the lady, like,
Okay, Joe, don't be putting this part, any part previous to this, just cut it. All right, let's go. I'm fresh now. All right, Haze, you say you had the script.
Yo, it's your boy Haze. Steezy Manjaro. I love it. It's a song. It's like a song. Like,
Yo,
your boy
Steezy
Haze,
Manjaro.
Steezy Manjaro. Alafu.
I don't know if I could
Riot
do that.
Manjaro or
Gear.
Riot Gear.
So it's like a song. So
Manjaro.
it's your boy Haze. Steezy Manjaro. Riot Gear 3D.
Got it. Cool.
I feel like I'll be forcing it. I'll be forcing it if I try to like do that type of...
Force it.
It's okay, let me put it like this. Like,
Force it.
even inside my tutorials, it's not my brand. It's not the brand like I've...
Right?
Like, okay, like in terms of the personality that I present, even in my tutorials, it's not that like, hey man, it's like, you know, just...
What's good, man? I go by the name of Young Haze.
Yo, I'm Steezy Manjaro.
And I'm Gear.
And we're presenting Disrupt the Pill, Gives You Push Start the Key by Haze. Flash shit.
Yo, man. So, bro, tell us about the song, man. Like, what's the inspiration behind it? Just from how you approached it lyrically, like what inspired that? What was the concept behind it?
Yeah, so the song was inspired by, it's kind of, you know how it's family driven. So what happens is, like, as in a lot of families, we get into this business of, like, we get into one car together, like a unit, and like rap groups are kind of like that. I come from like a big legacy of rap groups. You know what I'm saying? So, like, as in it's one big family. So it's like, as in when it's time to move, it's time to move. You know what I'm saying? So my big homie P16, shout out to Pyro King 16. He laced me with a beat, and I was like, man, this shit is crazy, man. And like, it's the first time we done stuff in a minute, man. It's been, I think, I don't know how long it's been since BOC put out a record, and I've been kind of labeled as, you know, I come through as a youngin', you know what I'm saying? So, shit. So anyway, what happens is, I was like, man, all my niggas need to get back in the studio and actually lay some dope ass shit, man, and I needed them all to come together, but people weren't pulling together. So I was like, man, hey man, let's get on this record. Let's get on some fire ass shit. So like, this was kind of like the young nigga being like, get in the car. Like, I got in the car first, and man, like, let's make a move. And you know how, like, as in, I know cars is all automatic and stuff. Like these days, especially, Manjaro, you gotta push start the key. So it's like, man, Push Start the Key, and I kind of feel like Push Start the Key is kind of like, it's a third world anthem, because sometimes, man, like, as in you got little Push Start the Key, Manjaro, and I got the same Push Start you got as a Lambo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not kidding, man. Like, as in you got the same start key as an Aventador, man. So it's kind of leveling the playing field. as a youngin', man. So like, as in I'm starting the key, and I'm like, yo, man, let's get in the car, man. Can you imagine?
I'm dead, yo.
Yeah, man, yeah,
But
straight
yeah.
up. So pretty much, man. Shout out to BLC for inspiring the record, man. P was all the way, all over that record, man. I recorded that over there with him. But shout out to Steezy Manjaro, made the dream happen. Some of Riot Gear was big on the video. I don't know, man. What else you want to know?
I mean, that was dope what you asked, man.
I feel like Africans don't get enough credit as explorers. Like everybody else is looked at as like an explorer. Everybody goes out to space and stuff. But like Africans do a bit of exploring, right? Like as in when things happen, or it doesn't necessarily have to be when things happen. To make things happen, Africans actually have to move out of their place of comfort and actually move to other spaces. So Africans are naturally explorers. What are your thoughts?
We're kind of like the last generation that kind of grew up without the internet. And then in our adulthood, this thing kind of started coming up, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all this. And we're kind of the first ones who kind of got to grow in a world without the internet and then see this thing just come into existence. And we kind of skipped that whole level and went directly to mobile. And there's this phrase when this topic is usually being discussed of Africa leapfrogging. And I was watching like some podcast, listening to some podcast talking about this recently. And I found it funny phrasing this as leapfrogging because from an external perspective, it looks like leapfrogging.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of the person who is like experiencing it, it's just African, especially in our generation, where we've grown up with a lot of the stuff we've consumed is even just from, it's like the world is a lot smaller than previous generations' experience of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a question that is really up to the individual to define
Yeah,
what is African to you.
So
Just continue.
oh yeah, so I'm an African. You're an African. Yeah, so Africans, my first question is, Africans are naturally explorers. You know what I'm saying? So like as much as like things happen to human beings and we need to explore things and all that stuff, like as in Africans are naturally explorers.
I'd like you to say like a bit more about like expound on how you
explorers.
how you came to that.
So I kind of feel like Africans don't get enough credit as explorers. Like everybody else is looked at as like an explorer. Everybody goes out to space and stuff, but like Africans do a bit of exploring, right? Like as in when things happen, or it doesn't necessarily have to be when things happen. To make things happen, Africans actually have to move out of their place of comfort and actually move to other spaces. So Africans are naturally explorers. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on exploring the new digital landscape? You know what I'm saying? And I'd like to find out, like, as in exactly what your thoughts are on exploring the new digital landscape from the concept of an African. Like, as in framing it back from, like, historically, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we have a lot of issues with identity and not understanding that. Like, as in a lot of people call us out on, like, as in not being able to trace our ancestry and history. I just want to find out, what are your thoughts on exploring the new digital landscape? Because this is kind of like a new digital landscape, right? Like, so as an African, let me go again. So Africans are naturally explorers. What are your thoughts on exploring the new digital landscape?
I think in our lifetime, if you look back in the last like 20 years, there was this we're kind of like the last generation that kind of grew up without the internet. And then in our adulthood, this thing kind of started coming up, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all this. And we're kind of the first ones who kind of got to grow in a world without the internet and then see this thing just come into existence. And recently now I was seeing this story being told from the perspective of like external observers. When the internet was coming up, we kind of had we skipped the landline phase of development and we went directly to mobile, in Africa especially. And it was kind of this thing where it's like we didn't have to go through the process of trial and error before like finding a nice equilibrium that we then moved forward with. We kind of skipped that whole level and went directly to mobile. And there's this phrase when this topic is usually being discussed of Africa leapfrogging. And I was watching like some podcast, listening to some podcast talking about this recently. And I found it funny phrasing this as leapfrogging because from an external perspective, it looks like leapfrogging. Yeah. But from the perspective of the person who is like experiencing it, it's just movement. It's just the thing. They don't know any other perspective. They just, that's their experience. Yeah. And I feel like we are now at another tipping point where it's like during the Industrial Revolution, we were kind of not there yet. Yeah. We kind of were left out of the bulk of the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, but this digital revolution is finding us in a place where we can take full advantage of it at the starting line. Yeah, so we're kind of at a place where it's like digital, essentially we have a level playing field, right? Playing field, exactly. Yeah, man. So anyway, I have my question. So like, as in when I was creating the record, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I had this vision for, especially like as I was working with you, creating like as in the visuals for this record, it was like, man, what would this mean for Africa? You know what I mean? Because like in terms of the record was about retracing our history. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of we have a nomadic culture, a pastoralist culture, you know what I'm saying, tribesmen. I have a lot of issues of identity as an African that I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. So like I needed those answered. What's your opinion on that? Like as in terms of, do you think that those types of ways of living translate to this new digital landscape? Yes, because the internet is kind of a funny thing because it kind of enables like a new structure that we could form more hyper connections than is possible in the physical reality. So it's like it's this place where I like, this will kind of like reveal my age a bit. I missed the whole rise of TikTok. I came to learn about TikTok when I was seeing vernacular TikToks in Kikamba, TikToks in Kikuyu. I was watching them on people's like WhatsApp statuses, and then that's when I realized like if this thing is hitting the vernacular, people producing videos in vernacular, then I've missed like this thing has really entered into those really niche pockets. So the digital space kind of just enables new connections that previously were not possible. And yeah, I think there's infinite possibility from where we are standing going forward, yeah. Yeah, man, because I was looking at it as in terms of, like, you know, like we could be digital nomads, pastoralists, you know what I'm saying? Like, as in, is there like, as in a platform that makes it possible for us to kind of like, as in roam the landscapes in that? How big is that?
as a landscape for us as people, especially people who come from big historical backgrounds and all that stuff, man. So we have all these things loaded up on us. Anyway, I don't want to delve into that too much. So so I wanted to delve into like the real stuff. So what issues do you tackle with your art? What are your thoughts on our identity as an African?
I think there's usually whenever this topic about being African comes up, there's usually like a part of it that kind of doesn't sit well with me, the way the questions are framed, kind of. It's like there's a stereotypical type of African, that there's a model of a stereotypical African that's put out there, then that most of the time when people ask these questions, they're trying to like compare your answer to this model that they have in their mind of what an African should be like. Yeah. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There's a dope ass friend of mine, we from way back. We've been doing 3D. We started like just playing around, and then it just became a whole thing.
Yeah.
And he was really good at sculpting characters. And whenever he did a character, he'd post it online. It's dope as fuck. He hasn't gotten to that level of maybe giving him now the textures. It's just the model. And then you'll see someone coming into the comments, not even talking about anything about the quality of the work or the detail in the work. They just go straight to critiquing why are you, Africans don't have that type of physique. Why are you not making someone with the physique of an, it's as if, you know, there's this type of model people have in their minds. But I think being African, especially in our generation, where we've grown up with a lot of the stuff we've consumed is even just from, it's like the world is a lot smaller than previous generations' experience of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a question that is really up to the individual to define what is African to you.
So Riot Gear 3D. Shout out to who else? Gosh, man, I am a young Haze, man. You do it with a Y-O-U-N-G, Young Haze. Lafu, disrupt appeal, my nigga, man. And then finally, with love, man, with love, Kate. As in, so what do you think they need to do as African artists, like to position themselves globally? You know what I'm saying? Cause okay, so one thing I'll mention about Riot Gear is he's an award-winning, he's globally recognized, he's an award-winning artist. So what do you feel is a thing that we need to do as African artists, right, to position ourselves globally?
Torn between like using industry, I'd have to like maybe crack some software from Adobe or Autodesk.
Yeah.
But then I found that there's just tools that are out there, open source. You can just download them and start using. You don't need to. Sometimes we put blockages on our path just because of limiting our imagination. Don't lock yourself into how things have been traditionally done too much.
Yo.
There are things out there that they just find open source software, use the resources that are available to you at your level, and you'll find a way to pull yourself forward.
The times we've felt like, and that's beautiful.
At the same time.
So, like, it's a question that I've wanted to ask Steezy for a long ass minute too. Like, as a person that's been pushing the envelope in terms of like, as in what being a creator and an artist means, what does it mean that now that like the camera is kind of like I mean the lens is kind of like on Africa?
Tractors that we had in our sets in like school. If you look at that angle, at closer to the center, a 5-degree angle looks really small. But if you zoom out, that 5-degree angle becomes wider and wider the farther you go from the center. So the point that we are living right now, just something really tiny you could do on this internet that's coming up, it deflects the path. The farther out you look into history, you really have like, you can shape how this thing grows going forward.
Do you feel like at this point African art is on a pedestal?
On a pedestal, say more. Like I don't really understand the
like
question
as in, do you
exactly.
think we're on top as African artists right now? I'm looking at
I'd say
Burna Boy,
I love what the Nigerians have done to the music, the African
Basquiat,
music
Jay-Z,
industry.
whoever.
I love what the Nigerians have done to the African music industry. Definitely, they've entered into like the global stage, but I feel like that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like that's just. It's like they've opened the door for the rest of Africa to show the world like this is who we are.
So like as in, what do you think they need to do as African artists, like to position themselves globally? You know what I'm saying? Cause okay, so one thing I'll mention about Riot Gear is he's an award-winning, he's globally recognized. He's an award-winning artist. So what do you feel is a thing that we need to do as African artists, right, to position ourselves globally?
I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but something that I think really helped me, especially in the beginning stages, is to not really lock yourself into the ways that things have been traditionally done. So for example, I'll give you an example. When I was starting out with 3D, I came across, there was all these different softwares you could use. And then there was this really niche, very tiny, very clunky open source software. And I was kind of torn between like using industry. I'd have to like maybe crack some software from Adobe or Autodesk. But then just I found that there's just tools that are out there open source. You can just download them and start using. You don't need to. Sometimes we put blockages on our path just because of limiting our imagination. Don't lock yourself into how things have been traditionally done too much. There are things out there that they just find open source software, use the resources that are available to you at your level, and you'll find a way to pull yourself forward.
So like as in building on that question, so I was like, what technologies have you been using as kind of like as in conjunction with the technologies that you use? What did you say you use? Use Adobe?
No, I used to use like
Adobe.
Adobe.
And
then I pivoted to like just open source stuff, Blender, Inkscape,
and stuff. So what you've been using? What technologies have you been using in conjunction? And like as an independent free artist, have you been using that have been instrumental in making your art, like as in pushing your art to the next level?
I'd say just a lot of the times it's been just the tools at your level of access. That has been just going a long way in. I found a lot of the times the things that I really needed could be easily taken care of by tools that were just out there, accessible and open. And even just sometimes, like especially in 3D, you need like really beefy PCs to do really dope stuff. And starting out, you can I used to kind of trip myself out thinking that if I didn't have like a beast of a PC, there's nothing I could do. But just that idea of using the tools at your level of access, I found that there's something that I could do right now to get me to that next step before I could worry about those other things. And that just, it's just like finding that kind of piece of thread and start pulling at it.
Yeah, so okay, essentially this is a question that I've wanted to ask you for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the times we've felt like, and that's beautiful.
You hit me at the same time.
So like it's a question that I've wanted to ask Steezy for a long ass minute too. Like as a person that's been pushing the envelope in terms of like as in what being a creator and an artist means. What does it mean that now that like the camera is kind of like I mean the lens is kind of like on Africa, like as in everybody's asking us like as in what's the move, my G? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's asking us like, what's the move? So what does it feel to be in this platform?
I mean, it feels good. I mean, I'm just like super glad to be making music.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's what it's about. Like, I'm just trying to make good music.
Yeah.
I think it's dope, not only for Africans, but just globally right now.
Yeah.
There's just so many platforms to put your
So if the world asked, what's the move, my G?
What's the move right now?
Yeah.
As what, as an artist or?
What's the move? Like, as in, what's the move creatively? Yeah, as an artist, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Make music, make art.
Yeah.
You know, and then don't be afraid to show it to the world. Just put it out.
Yeah.
I think that's what's like really key at the moment.
I think the thing that really stands out to me at our current point in like history is it's like the historians 100 years from now looking back. Right now is the first time like the internet is developing that ability to kind of store records for like an extended period of time, like really verifiable. Right now, it's like if you were to really think about it, the internet is really starting right now, and you are standing at the starting line, right there, and you know, like we're looking at the world, we're seeing all the changes that are happening. We know that there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you are seeing what's happening to the internet, it's like 200 years from now, people will be looking back at the time that we are living at this point in history. And there's this thing that I usually have on my social media sites. It says, born too soon to explore the universe, born too late to explore the world, but just in time to witness the Renaissance. It's like, if you look at like those protractors that we had in our sets in like school, if you look at that angle, at closer to the center, a 5-degree angle looks really small. But if you zoom out, that 5-degree angle becomes wider and wider the farther you go from the center. So the point that we are living right now, just something really tiny you could do on this internet that's coming up, it deflects the path. The farther out you look into history, you really have like, you can shape how this thing grows going forward. And I feel like if the generation that we've grown on the internet from Africa, we really have things to show the world that the world does not expect to come from where we are coming from. And that gives me like a lot of excitement.
So, yeah, man, I guess wow, that's actually beautiful, man. That's actually amazing. So I wanted to ask you, What what are your motivations for creating? What are your motivations?
That's where I get my life juice, man.
Yeah.
That's the juice that gives me the drive to wake up in the morning and say, I don't know how this goes, but I'm going to give it a shot. That's just where I get my reason to keep going.
Yeah. So, what kind of music do you listen to while creating?
I guess that depends. It depends on what I'm creating, because music has this way of like working around some of the centers in your brain to like go directly to the emotions. So it depends on what I'm making. If I'm making something really dark, I'd probably be listening to like some metal or some really dark hip hop. And yeah, it depends on what I'm making.
So, dark hip hop. Could you name one influence?
One influence.
Yeah.
What's this guy? Night Lovell.
Night Lovell.
Yeah.
Shout out to Night Lovell. Like Canada, yeah? That's Canada.
Yeah.
That's Canadian.
Yeah.
All right. So so what do you feel about so now I think music has penetrated your industry, right? Creation in terms of like what you listen to kind of shapes how you create. So like what do you feel is music's potential to reach into other industries?
I think looking at it from the perspective of industries isn't even the correct level of analysis, I think. Because music has direct access to human emotions, regardless of what humans are doing on the surface of their activities. Music has this way of like going straight to the emotions, going around all your logic centers and everything, and just going straight to the emotion. So I think that's, if you really know what you're doing with your music, if you can move someone with your music, like that's a much deeper level of activity than the industrial level, and that's kind of how I like to listen to music and consume music.
Okay, so what could we do as artists to move guys like you, creators like in other platforms? Because the question was it's kind of close to my heart, right?
Okay.
So like as in, because I'm a big believer in music moving and touching other realms of influence and all that stuff. So what could we do as artists? How can we be better? Like as in, how do you feel if you were like an artist? Hey, whoa! I just asked you if you as a musician were to be asked those questions. What do you feel you would do to like as in enhance like, you know what I'm saying, expand your realm of influence essentially?
I think how I'll answer this isn't really like specifically for musicians. I think it's like more general. But I think where we're headed, just the structure that forms the internet or of the future makes it so that cooperation is kind of the winning strategy. It's not centralized top-down structures, but more flatter structures on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's like just because of that structure.
What do you mean by flatter structures?
Like I'm trying to like put this in a perspective without like coming out so much as like a crypto bro.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think the internet of like Bitcoin is something like, we can talk about Bitcoin right now. Governments are talking about like regulating the space, but it's this type of, the structure on that network is more peer-to-peer. It's more nodes that are, it's like they share the same level of activity. And I think that's kind of like the structure that the internet is headed towards in general, not just from the perspective of that industry. And I think the winning strategy in such a structure, in a flat structure, is you inherently want your neighbor to be as strong as they can possibly be. So that kind of creates this dynamic where you really want to be cooperating with other people who give you your strengths.
Collaborate with people who give you your strengths?
Like, collaborate with people who are kind of adjacent to what you're doing. People who can add on top of what you're doing. So I'll give you, like, a good example is how I've been, like, working with Steezy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not an audio guy. When I was starting out, I had the option of, I've learned this 3D software, and then now I'm learning this. I could have decided to learn production so that I could do it myself. But because I came across him, it was more efficient for both of us that I could just leave the audio things to him and let him take care of that, and he would trust me in the same way with the visuals.
Okay, so for Steezy, what was it like working with someone that's in a relatively, like, as in, what was it like scoring for someone that's never in a realm of the internet that's never been scored for? It's kind of essentially like I kind of sent you like an astronaut into space, or what?
Yeah,
what was it scoring?
Yeah. Put it like that, like scoring is like, it sounds like super.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, like a lot of the stuff I do just involves putting the audio together, his narration, cleaning that up. You understand? If you want some music, I put some music on, right? I put some sound effects, so some sound design to some of the stuff that he does, and what was the question? I forgot the question.
So essentially, basically, like, so he's in this new realm of 3.0.
Yeah.
In Africa, it's relatively virgin land. So like, as in, you're kind of scoring music for a place that's never been touched before. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really look at it like that. For me, it's just about the art. Like, we're just doing dope stuff. I'm getting that. For me, like, being somebody who just like makes music, you know, like, I record with artists and stuff like that. To work with him, it's been interesting because, like, I'm getting an opportunity to, like, approach what I do a little bit differently. So it's like, he sends me the visuals, and I pretty much have to figure out what sound do I have on this, or what sound can I put on this to make this, like, more engaging, or just to make it, you know, just make it better, you know, because audio does make things better. So, yeah, that's dope. You know, it's dope that we're you know, putting some stuff out on the Web3 space, That's dope. I've been watching what's been going on over there. I'm thinking that it's a really dope place for artists. I love the community over there. You know, I haven't put something out recently, but you know, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've been an observer, so I've been looking at everything and, you know, watching how people are supporting each other, and that's been super dope. So, yeah, man, that's my take on that.
So yeah, finally. Thank you, Steezy. So yeah, it's just like this. So essentially, I wanted to ask the both of you a funny ass question. So what's push start the key for you? I'll start with Steezy.
Yo, to be honest,
what push starts your key? I'm not saying push start the key. What push starts your key?
Push. Okay, all right. So
yeah,
for me, yo, like, I'm gonna answer this in, like, from, like, my creative world, right? So I'm gonna answer for that perspective. So for me, it's just honestly just everybody else that's out there making music, Like I'm listening to stuff and I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I kind of like, you know, me being somebody who makes music, it just inspires me to do something because it's so, music for me, it's always been so cool how somebody can just like, you know, put together melodies or progressions or drum patterns and make it sound so dope, you know, and to me, that's always been a mindfuck. So I'm just trying to do the same. I'm trying to, you know, put music out, you know, work a fan base, you know, put it out, share the message, share dope music, you know. So that's it for me. Mostly it's other people, like, you know. Did I get your question probably? Or?
Yeah, you probably did. So most that's what I'm gonna put it to you. I want to. What already? What's push start the key for you? What push starts your key?
Yo, bro, you better flop.
Yeah, I know he
You need
mad.
to make me look
I
good.
know he
bro.
big
Take one for
man.
your brother. I'm
Yeah,
your brother.
I know. Yeah.
You sound guy.
I think for me it's like as I was just learning the things that I've learned that have got me just like doing the thing that I love to do. I realized like the bulk of the obstacles were imagined.
Yeah.
Like
It's interesting. It's a completely interesting.
it's like I had all the things that I needed at the beginning to just start to do the thing to then build that momentum.
To react. So what push starts your key? Your new kweli? Is it bitches? Is it bitches? Is it drugs?
Yeah, man.
Is it what really push starts your
I think
key?
I'll need you to like expound on what push starting.
I'm asking what push starts your key? Your key is the push starter.
Like what? The way I interpret that question is what gives me the drive to wake up in the morning and face the day.
That's how I answered.
That's how I am interpreting your question.
That's how you look at it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Haze, how do you mean it?
yeah, man. Like if that's what push starts your key on, like money over bitches, money over bitches, money over bitches. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's the take for me, Young Haze. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Young Haze? What would you rate the song first? Push start the key, and why? Scale of 1 to 10.
No, man, the why.
Why?
I don't
think
care.
That's an easy one.
Give me an honest rating, man. Please, friend.
Honestly, I have 2 demerits. There's only 2 demerits that I would point out. There's this one bar in the song where you say my shit look like the how does it go?
Dow Jones.
Yeah.
Dow Jones.
You're rapping in this same.
I feel like in Web3 circles that's not a flex.
Oh, for real? Dow Jones?
Yeah.
Why?
That's like the
the
old system. That's like the old like
for real.
yeah.
I'm trying to phase out the Dow Jones.
Not necessarily phasing out, but it's like
Yeah, I'm sorry,
like,
not phase it out.
It's kind of like representative of the old rather than like the new.
Yeah.
So that's like the first thing that just stood out to me.
Yeah. So if you're like as in a Web3 rapper, like if you're a guy representing a space as it should be,
you wouldn't be flexing about like the Dow
like
Jones.
as in I wouldn't flex the Dow Jones anywhere. Man, of course, he represent. I wouldn't represent the Dow Jones anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And of course, shout out to Riot 3D and on Web3, on Web3. I promise I wouldn't rep the Dow Jones nowhere, man. I'm just going to Dow Jones. Ain't nowhere, man. I don't rep the Dow Jones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Never catch me on Web3. Shout out to Ghost. Shout out to Ghost, frequent contributor, man. Oh, Web3! I promise. On a scale of, yeah, man, so what are your thoughts on Young Haze as an artist, man?
Like,
yeah, just like as a person, an artist.
It's been a minute since like the first time we met.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's been like it's about time like people started like discovered like the Young Haze, the artist that we know and like we've heard and we know what he can do. So yeah, like I feel like it's about time.
I don't know, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Snap, man. Now the car just got co-signed by one of the biggest 3D artists on the continent, my G. 3D 3D artists on the continent. Shout out to Riot Gear. Anasemaje? Riot Gear 3D. Shout out to who else? Gosh, man. I am a Young Haze, man. You do it with a Y-O-U-N-G. Young Haze. Lafu, Disrupt Appeal. My nigga, man. And then finally, with love, man. With love. Kate. So I'm looking back, like I'm taking my question way back from history, bro. So I'm looking at it like in terms of you're African, right? Yeah, so yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah. So Africans are naturally like, as in from the beginning, Africans have been naturally explorers. You know what I'm saying? So we've had our subgroups, you know what I'm saying? So we've had nomads, we've had pastoralists, we've had, I don't know, we've had a bunch of, like, as in we've been explorers as such. So Africans, we're naturally explorers. So what are your thoughts on exploring, you know, and I'm sorry.
Endelea, zidi.
I'm
sorry, guys.
Yeah, so and explorers.
But sasa umeenda na mic.
Umeenda na mic, nipe mic basi. Acha
No, just continue. Don't cut.
Hiyo ingine iko wapi?
Okay, so
niko nayo.
So yeah, so